His heart has started to harden. Hey everyone, Henriel here. Welcome back. Right now, we are going to watch A Christmas Carol, also known as Scrooge, from 1951. Now, a lot of people say that this version with Alastair Sim is the best version and is the favorite of a lot of people. And so, this is the version that I've chosen to watch. As you can see, I have got a pair of antlers here on my head, which I have purposely bought for this movie. Of course, I doubt this movie has anything to do with reindeers, but I had to find something else other than a Santa hat because I already wore a Santa hat in the previous reaction. And in case you didn't know, maybe it's your first time on my channel, this is the second out of 3 Christmas movies that I will be watching for Christmas this month. And if you'd love to watch my full reaction to this movie or any other movies that I've reacted to before, then you can go ahead and check out my Patreon. Link is in the description below. And if you love reactions to classic movies, fun movies, great movies, Christmas, Halloween movies, then go ahead and subscribe and turn on your post notifications so you know whenever a new reaction comes out. Adapted from Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol. I've never read the book.
Old Marley was as dead as a doornail. This must be distinctly understood, or nothing wonderful can come of the story I'm going to relate. Are you off home to keep Christmas?
I am not in the habit of keeping Christmas, sir. Christmas, sir, is a humbug. Good day.
Mr. Scrooge, sir.
Who are you?
Samuel Wilkins, sir. I can't pay you, sir.
I'm not surprised.
Can't take my wife to a debtor's prison.
Why should she go to a debtor's prison anyway? She didn't borrow the £20, you did.
But Mr. Scrooge, it's Christmas.
Christmas has even less to do with it, my dear sir, than your wife has or I have.
Have I the pleasure of addressing Mr. Scrooge or Mr. Marley?
Mr. Marley has been dead these 7 years.
In fact, he died 7 years ago this very day. That we should make some slight provision for the poor and destitute.
Are there no prisons? And the union workhouses, are they still in operation?
They are.
I help to support the establishments I have mentioned. Those who are badly off must go there.
Many can't go there.
Some would rather die. If they would rather die, they'd better do it and decrease the surplus population. Who's that?
Your nephew, Uncle. Only to wish you a Merry Christmas.
Keep Christmas in your own way and leave me to keep it in mine.
But you don't keep it.
Then let me leave it alone then.
Come and dine with us tomorrow.
No, thank you.
Why?
Why did you marry against my wishes?
Because I fell in love.
With a woman as penniless as yourself.
I came here in the spirit of right goodwill, and I won't let you dampen it. So a Merry Christmas to you anyway, Uncle.
Humbug!
Marrying against his wishes because the woman is poor.
The little lame boy. Which one is he?
Tim, sir.
How is he?
Oh, we're in high hopes. He's getting better, sir.
Good. A Merry Christmas to you.
Come along, Tim, my dear. I've got the goose. Did you get a big goose? Yes, the biggest goose you ever did see. Rachel, all season. So I can pop right out of his head and he'll forget all about horrid old Mr. Scrooge.
You'll want the whole day off tomorrow, I suppose.
If quite convenient, sir.
Not convenient.
It is only once a year, sir. It's a poor excuse for picking a man's pocket every 25th of December.
I suppose you better have the whole day. But be back all the earlier next morning.
I will indeed, sir. Thank you, sir. Merry Christmas, sir.
You a clerk and 15 shillings a week with a wife and a family, talking about a Merry Christmas. I'll retire to Bedlam.
Don't have to be rude about it, just say Merry Christmas and be done with it.
More bread.
Take me extra, sir.
No more bread.
Yes.
Marley?
Jacob Marley.
Marley is here to haunt him. Can't even drink soup in peace. The clock isn't moving.
Who are you?
Ask me who I was.
All right. Who were you then?
Jacob Marley.
Oh. You don't believe me.
I don't.
You might be an undigested bit of beef. A piece of cheese.
Or maybe some mushrooms.
Do you see that toothpick? I do. You're not looking at it. But I see it. Mercy. Do you believe in me or not? I do. I must.
I must.
If it goes not forth in life, it is condemned to do so after death. Why, I wear the chain I forged in life. I made it link by link. You do not know the weight and length of strong chain you bear yourself. In life, my spirit never roved beyond the limits of our money-changing home. Now I am doomed to wander without rest or peace. You are a good man of business, Jacob. Business! Mankind was my business. I come tonight to warn you that you have yet a chance and hope of escaping my fate. You will be visited by 3 spirits.
What?
In that case, never mind. I think I'd rather not.
I'd rather not.
But look here! That you may remember for your own sake. They seek to interfere for good and have lost their power forever.
Oh, those are other spirits, and they're trying to help. They're trying to do good. Ooh, I just got goosebumps. The clock strikes 1.
Who and what are you?
I am the ghost of Christmas past.
What is your business here with me?
Your welfare. Take heed, rise and walk with me.
Rise and walk with me.
They are but shades of the things that have been. They do not know we are here.
There's my old school.
Ebenezer. Oh, dear brother, I have come to bring you home. Home. Father is so much kinder than he used to be that home is like heaven. And you're never to be lonely again.
Never to be lonely again.
Never as long as I live.
Nobody else ever cared for me. Nobody else ever will. You must live forever, Fan.
You must forgive Papa and forget the past.
Oh, Fan.
She died a married woman and had, I think, children. Your nephew.
His nephew.
She died, giving him life.
As your mother died, giving you life, for which your father never forgave you, as if you were to blame.
Oh, is that why he doesn't like his nephew?
Why, bless my soul, it's old Fezziwig. Oh, was there ever a kinder man?
What does this party cost him in your mortal money? Is that so much that he deserves your praise?
Oh, but it's not that. The happiness he gave to us and everybody who knew him was as great as if it had cost a fortune.
It's only a shilling, my Alice, but one day it'll be a gold one.
Oh, when I'm rich enough.
You're still so young, you may have a change of heart one day.
If ever I have a change of heart towards you, it'll be because my heart has ceased to beat.
And it makes no difference that I'm poor.
I love you because you're poor.
Oh, very different than he is now.
Will you always feel like that?
As long as I live. Longer. Forever and ever.
That's not how he felt about his nephew marrying a penniless woman.
Come, Mr. Fezziwig, we're good friends, I think, besides good men of business. Why don't you sell out while the going is good?
But it's not just for money alone that one spends a lifetime building up a business, Mr. George. It's to preserve a way of life that one knew and loved. I'll have to be loyal to the old ways and die out with them if needs must.
You know what they say about time and tide, Mr. Fezziwig?
Waits for no man.
Wait for no one.
There's more in life than money, sir.
You can't teach an old dog new tricks, can you, Mr. Scrooge? Nor teach the leopard to change its spots. Why, suppose I told you you could get twice the salary old Fezziwig can afford to pay you.
I'd still say money wasn't everything, sir.
Well, if it ain't, I don't know what is.
Money isn't everything, sure, but It's still pretty important.
Ebenezer, promise me.
I'll promise you anything, dearest. Fan, you can't die. Fan, you mustn't die.
He blames his nephew.
Promise me you'll take care of my boy.
Scrooge did not hear her request until now.
Forgive me, Fan. Forgive me, Fan.
By the way, how did old Fezziwig take it when you said you were leaving him?
You wish me luck, sir. The world is on the verge of new and great changes, Mr. Scrooge. Some of them, of necessity, will be violent.
Well, I think the world's becoming a very hard and cruel place, Mr. Marley. One must steel oneself to survive it, not be crushed under with the weak and the infirm.
His heart has started to harden. A bird in a cage.
She is not changed by the harshness of the world, but you are.
You no longer love me.
When have I ever said that?
Another idol has replaced me in your heart. A golden idol.
But I am not changed towards you.
Aren't you? Would you seek me out and try to win me now?
Of course I would.
Would you choose a direless girl with neither wealth nor social standing? You who now weigh everything by gain? You know I'm right then.
I must bow to your conviction that you are.
May you be happy in the life you have chosen.
I shall be.
She had wanted to hear him say it's not true. He still loves her. But no.
Show me no more.
These were but shadows of the things that have been. They are what they are. Do not blame me.
Take me away.
Show the startling figures of a liability of £3,200, 8 shillings and 10pence, and a total asset of £11, 8 shillings and 10pence.
Well, at least the 10pences cancel each other out.
You're an embezzler of the company's funds.
We're all cutthroats under this fancy linen, Mr. Snedrig.
What would you gauge to prosecute me? All you'd get out of it is about £11 odd. But if this juicy little scandal leaked out now, the annual shareholders' meeting would resemble an orchestra of scorched cats.
An orchestra of scorched cats.
Mr. Marley and myself are prepared to make good out of our own private resources. In return, we wish to be allowed the option of buying up further shares in the company to a maximum of 51%.
Okay.
Excuse me, Mr. Scrooge.
I'm busy.
It's about Mr. Marley. He's dying, sir.
Well, what can I do about it? If he's dying, he's dying.
Let us go when the office is closed. At 7 o'clock.
Yes.
Mr. Marley might not be alive by then.
Try and get Mr. Marley to hold out till then, I'm sure. Much obliged.
Seems like he doesn't care much about Mr. Marley after all.
I hope you'll find Mr. Marley well, sir. I should think that's highly unlikely. We've all got to die, Cratchit. I suppose you'll be wanting the whole day off tomorrow as usual. If quite convenient, sir. Every Christmas you say the same thing. Is he dead yet?
I'll have another look if you like.
No, don't bother.
Is he dead yet?
Jacob?
Wrong.
Huh? Wrong. Well, we can't be right all the time. Nobody's perfect.
Say yourself.
Save myself from what?
Speak up.
Did he find out right before he died?
Is he dead?
Yes.
He was the only friend you ever had. But what did you feel when you took his money, his house? Look at your face, Ebenezer. A face of a wrenching, covetous old sinner.
No.
Was it all a dream?
Yes, I'm coming.
Okay, I'll come in. There's no way to resist. Oh, Luxurious.
I am the spirit of Christmas present. Look upon me.
I'm too old. I'm beyond hope. Go and redeem some younger, more promising creature.
We spirits of Christmas do not live only one day of our year. We live the whole 365. So is it true of the child born in Bethlehem. You have chosen not to seek him in your hearts. Therefore you shall come with me and seek him in the hearts of men of goodwill.
Is the pudding still singing in the copper, Peter? Yes, come and hear it.
Pudding singing? Never heard that before.
How did little Tim behave in church?
He told me he wasn't going to feel shy if people looked at him because he was a cripple, as it might be pleasant to them to remember upon Christmas Day who made lame beggars walk and blind men see.
Will Tiny Tim live?
I see a vacant seat in the poor chimney corner.
Say that he will be spared.
Why? If he'd be like to die, he'd better do it and decrease the surplus population.
Scrooge's own words.
To our Merry Christmas. God bless us.
God bless us. God bless us. Everyone.
I give you Mr. Scrooge, the founder of the feast.
I wish I had him here now. I'd give him a piece of my mind. Such a hard, stingy, unfeeling man as Mr. Scrooge. You know he is, Robert.
My dear, Christmas Day.
He said that Christmas was humbug, and he believed it, too.
I told him so.
Well, a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year to the poor old man. I couldn't feel angry with him if I tried. Who suffers worst from his humours? Himself, always.
Do you feel more rested now, my dear? I do. Bless your dear, gentle heart.
Rest. Spirit, are these people real or are they shadows?
We're the shadows. Did you not cut yourself off from your fellow beings when you lost the love of that gentle creature? Will you profit by what I have shown you of the good in most men's hearts?
I don't know. How can I promise?
Then learn this lesson. This boy is ignorance, this girl is want.
But have they no refuge, no resource?
Are there no prisons? Are there no workhouses? Are there no prisons? Are there no workhouses?
Throwing his words back at him. The boy is ignorance, the girl is want.
Spirit of the future, I fear you more than any other spectre I've seen.
Ooh, getting goosebumps.
I cannot change. It's not that I am impenitent.
You can't teach an old dog new tricks. Ooh, you can't even see him. You can't see the future. Just a dark shadow.
Neither shall any plague come nigh thy dwelling. He shall call upon me, and I will answer him.
I went to see the place where he will rest. It's sheltered by green trees, my dear. As I stood there, I felt his hand slip in mine as if he was standing beside me and comforting me. He was telling me, you see, in his own little way, that he's happy, and that we must cease to grieve for him and try to be happy too. Oh, dear, my tiny dear.
Wasn't he amiable in his lifetime? If he had been, he'd have had somebody with him when he was struck with death, instead of lying gasping out his last there alone by himself. It was a judgment on him.
Scrooge is dead.
2 towels, shirt, teaspoons, 2 silver.
Here, 17 and 6.
Bed curtains.
Don't you say you took these down, rings and all, and him lying there?
Yes, I do. Why not? For the sake of such a man as he was, I promise you'd go.
These his blankets, too.
Whose else do you think?
The blankets that he was sleeping, he died in?
They'd have wasted it if it hadn't been for me.
What you mean, wasted it?
Well, they'd have buried him in it, of course. But I took it off of him again.
Wait, he took off his clothes? Dang. That's savage.
He frightened everybody away from him when he was alive. Now he benefits us when he's dead.
What's he done with all his money? Left it to his company. Where else? Funeral won't cost much, that's certain. On my soul, I can't think of anyone who'll go to it. I don't mind going, if there's a luncheon provided.
Whose funeral were they talking about?
Yours. His gravestone.
Are these the shadows of things that must be, or are they only shadows of things that might be?
He's the only one who cried for himself, for his own death.
Oh, pity me, Spirit, pity me, and help me. Help me to sponge away the writing on the stone if I repent. I'll make good the wrongs I've done my fellow men. I'll change. I will the man I was.
He was the one who said everyone has to die someday. Didn't he say that?
What day is it?
What? Christmas Day, Coaster?
Christmas Day. Christmas Day. Then I haven't missed it.
Are you quite yourself, sir?
I don't know. No, I don't think so. I hope not.
What?
I'm here. I don't know what to do. I'm as light as a feather. A Merry Christmas, Ebenezer. You old humbug. Merry Christmas, Mrs. Dilber.
Thank you, sir.
Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you. And many, many of them.
Likewise.
I don't know anything. I never did know anything. I must stand on my head.
That's what? He's gone mad.
I am not mad.
That's what a mad person would say.
A guinea? To keep me mouth shut?
No, Miss Dilber. It's for a Christmas present.
For me?
You really have gone mad.
How much do you
She's
think?
so scared.
2 shillings a week.
Once forthwith raised to 10.
10 shillings a week?
That's 5 times.
Merry Christmas, Mr. Scrooge! In keeping with the situation.
Oh, now I see. This is Marley's house. I just realized it now, but this is Marley's house. After he took Marley's house, he lived in it.
Tell me, have they sold the prize turkey that was hanging there, not the little turkey, the big one?
One as big as me?
Yes. Come back with the butcher and I'll give you a shilling. An enchanting boy. I'll send it to Bob Cratchit. That's what I'll do. He'll never dream where it came from.
He was really stingy before.
I think I know who sent it. Who? Mr. Scrooge.
What would make Mr. Scrooge take such leave of his senses suddenly?
Christmas?
The 3 spirits of Christmas, to be exact.
Uncle Ebenezer!
Can you forgive a pig-headed old fool for having no eyes to see with, no ears to hear with, all these years?
Bless you.
So light on his feet.
Cratchit, you're late. What do you mean by coming in here this time of day?
I'm very sorry, sir. It's only once a year, sir. It won't be repeated.
I'm not going to stand this sort of thing any longer, which leaves me no alternative but to raise your salary.
He does look rather mad.
I haven't taken leave of my senses, Bob. I've come to them. I want to try to help you to raise that family of yours, if you'll let me.
Anyone would be surprised by a sudden change overnight.
I don't deserve to be so happy. I just can't help it.
He became as good a friend, as good a master, and as good a man as the good old city ever knew. And it was always said that he knew how to keep Christmas well.
His leg got better.
And so, as Tiny Tim observed, God bless us, everyone.
After Scrooge visited his nephew, I thought that he would also go visit Alice, but it turns out he didn't. He was so stingy before, I wouldn't even pay a little bit extra for more bread, but now he's so generous, upping the maid's salary from 2 shillings a week to 10 shillings a week, and then buying the big turkey for Bob Cratchit. To other people, he would seem to have changed completely over one night, as if maybe he knocked his head on a wall and then just changed. But we all know it's because he was visited by the 3 spirits of Christmas who helped him see the past, present, and the future. The spirits are very interesting too, because the spirit of Christmas past, he is like semi-transparent. Like he's not entirely there, he's just a shadow. So those are the shadows of the past which have already happened. And then the spirit of the present, he is very solid, right? Then the spirit of the future, he is draped in black cloth, the unknown. You can't see him, you can't hear him because the spirit never said a single word. He represents the complete unknown. These three spirits are very suitable to be the spirits of Christmas past, present, and future. The one thing I did not understand was ignorance and want. So, what does that mean? The children who we saw, ignorance and want, they symbolize the societal neglect of the poor, emphasizing how ignorance and want perpetuate poverty. Ignorance represents the lack of education and awareness that traps the poor, while want symbolizes their unmet needs. Dickens uses these figures to criticize Victorian society's disregard for the impoverished and to urge social responsibility, highlighting the urgent need for change to prevent societal doom. His use of the term want is different from our use today. To us, want means desire, but to Dickens, it means abject poverty, a complete lack of the barest necessities of life. During the scene at the beginning when we saw men who were collecting for the poor, Scrooge's response was, "Are there no prisons? Are there no workhouses?" Scrooge's solution was to throw the poor and starving into prison and the jobless into workhouses. In other words, it's not my problem. The spirit emphasizes that as bad as want is, ignorance is worse. Why? Because as long as people remain ignorant, which means they lack in knowledge and information and understanding, or they don't go to school, they don't educate themselves, then they will continue to lack resources to gain jobs and work their way out of this want. So they'll never be able to work their way out of poverty. As long as one remains ignorant, they will forever be left wanting. The problems will just compound until society is destroyed by them. Want is self-perpetuating. Those of us who have the resources to do so must help those who languish in want and ignorance, if we are ever to do away with them. So the message here is to tell us that we as a society and we as people who have more resources, who are more capable or more educated, we must take a hand in caring for the poor and the ignorant and help them learn the tools and skills to help themselves. The saying comes to mind, catch a fish for a man and you feed him for a day, but teach a man how to catch fish and the man feeds himself. That's definitely not the exact wording, but you get what I mean. It does make sense because it is like a family in poverty. The parents are poor, and so when they raise the children, they can't send the children to school, they can't educate the children, so the children grow up poor, and when the children have more children, it just keeps on going. Every generation is poor until one day someone from a certain generation educates himself, or the parents sacrifice everything to send this kid to school and be educated, and then this child grows up and learns how to earn money for himself. He has a wealth of knowledge, a wealth of skills, and once he's able to help himself, then the subsequent generations, the generations that come after, will not suffer from poverty, because it's like you're building your wealth generation by generation. But the first step to escape that poverty is to educate yourself and give yourself the skill to do better in life. Someone shared a summary of Charles Dickens' life story. Dickens was not born into poverty. His parents had a nice home and were socially active. His father, John Dickens, was irresponsible with money. They constantly were moving to smaller and smaller homes. He overspent on entertaining and decor and wound up in debt. Charles had to leave school and pawn his books. John could not pay that debt and was then sent to debtor's prison when Charles was 12. That reminds me of the beginning of the movie when there was a guy who borrowed £20 from Scrooge, right? And then he said he couldn't pay it back. And then he said that he doesn't want to send his wife to debtor's prison. Could it be that this character was inserted in there to represent Charles Dickens' father? That's interesting. I had forgotten about this minor character. I wonder if Scrooge eventually waived that £20 for that guy. Who knows? They never showed it. Maybe they mentioned it in the book. Continuing on with Dickens' life story, with debt and no income for the family of 8 children, that's a lot of children, 12-year-old Charles was sent to work at Warren's blacking warehouse. While Charles' mother and siblings lived at the prison with the father, it wasn't possible for Charles to get there at night before the gates closed, so he had to move to a boarding house near the factory. Debtor's prison is a place where his mother and siblings and father stayed together? What is a debtor's prison? First time I've heard of it. A debtor's prison is a facility where people who are unable to pay their debts are imprisoned. Okay, I mean, it was self-explanatory. People would stay incarcerated there until they worked to make enough to pay off their debt, or until someone gave them the money to pay it back. So, I assume that means they are provided some kind of job in the prison, so they can work there to earn money, right? Charles was fortunately only forced to work at a factory for a few months before his father came to an agreement with his debtors and was released. But the experience scarred him and changed the way he saw the world. Dickens believed that want, hunger, was the cause of misery and crime, and that ignorance kept people in that state. Ignorance had two contexts. He believed that the people who could improve the plight of their fellow humans were often willfully ignorant of the suffering. He also believed that education was the way out of poverty and misery. So the first ignorance was something that we discussed earlier, which was education. And then the other ignorance is how people who are fully capable of helping their fellow humans ignore the suffering of those in poverty. Okay, that was interesting, a good lesson. The other thing I wanted to mention was about how Scrooge changed because he saw all these things. Like he saw his past. Basically, he had a revision or recap of his past. He remembered everything that he was and everything that he felt. And then he saw the present, what's happening now, things he hasn't seen, and then the future. So let me just go through it one by one, what I think. Firstly, the past. As we know, we are constantly changing. Who we were 10 years ago and who we are today could be completely different people. We have grown wiser, or we have changed, whether for better or for worse. So sometimes I think it's very important to just get in touch with our past selves. Like, how were we last year, 3 years ago, 5 years ago, 8 years ago, 10 years ago? Like, were we in a better place? What was the difference? Or were we in a worse situation? How are we now? And some comparison could really help us to determine how far we've come or how much we've changed and whether further changes are necessary. Are there some values that I've had in the past which I should have retained? Or are there some things I have changed and it was a good thing, so I should maintain how it is right now? In conclusion, what I got from the spirit of Christmas past is that revising the past is very important to know how we are doing right now. And then the spirit of Christmas present, it showed what was happening now, but in places where Ebenezer Scrooge could not see, because Scrooge couldn't see what was happening in Bob Cratchit's family. He couldn't see what was happening in his nephew's house. Scrooge is a person who wholly focuses himself into his business, in his company. All he does is just go to work, go home, go to work, go home, go to work, go home, go to work, go home. And he's been doing this for decades. And so he does not, how do you say, go and explore, or he does not see other things. He's like tunnel visioning. He's only focused on that little tiny circle, that tiny area of influence in his life. But if he had known and seen other things, if he had learned about Tiny Tim, if he had learned about how Bob Cratchit's family is, if he had known how his nephew thinks of him and what's happening everywhere else outside his life, then he would have been able to expand his horizons and know more, feel more, and he could be more than his current self. My point is, ideally, we should not just stay confined in a certain routine or a certain space. Like sometimes, once in a while, we need to go out there, see the world, experience different people, and just learn different things. Because sometimes a sudden big difference, a sudden new stimuli could really give you an inspiration or an idea or the motivation to make a change or to be a better person. And I think that is how the spirit of Christmas present helped Ebenezer Scrooge, and that is how we can help ourselves in the present moment. Now we move on to the spirit of the future. I don't really have much to say about this one because we can't see the future. So the one thing that we can do is to imagine our ideal future. Like, how do I want myself to become? Or who do I want myself to become? Like 5 years from now, 10 years from now, where do I see myself? This person who I want to become, or this place where I want to be, what can I do to get there? What can I do today to be the person who I want to be? We can create an ideal future for ourselves and then start planning the steps to take us to this future. In Scrooge's case, the spirits were trying to change him to become a better person, so they showed him his death and how it would look like if he continued on his current path. And that can work too, because some people are motivated by their ideals, what they can be, and some people are motivated by what they don't want to be. So, for example, let's say there's an alcoholic, someone who drinks like crazy, and then maybe one day he has a problem. He goes to the doctor, and the doctor tells him, if you continue on this path, drinking so much every single day, then within 2 years, your liver is going to dry up and you will die. It gives the alcoholic a vision. It makes him see a future 2 years from now where he will be lying there dead on the floor in a pool of his own vomit. And then he knows that's not the future he wants. So how should he avoid this future? What can he do today to just completely erase this future and have a better future for himself? See what works for you. Would you be more motivated to avoid a bad future, or would you be more motivated to pursue a better future? And then go for it. That's what I learned from the spirit of Christmas future. In conclusion, spirit of Christmas past taught me to get in touch with my past self. How different was I in the past compared to now, and what needs to be changed, what needs to be maintained. Spirit of Christmas present taught me that I should explore out of my current circle and see more things, get more different stimulus or stimuli, which could help me find more motivation or ideas or inspiration. And the spirit of Christmas future is to imagine a good future that I want to pursue, or imagine a bad future I want to avoid, and then take the steps to get to that future or avoid a bad future. The last thing I want to say is about the effects, the overlay effects, how they make it look like fan was passing through Scrooge's body when he was in the past, or hourglass spinning, sand in the background, stuff like that. I think those effects were pretty good for a 1951 movie. So good job for those effects. Ebenezer Scrooge's character development, well, I don't even need to mention it. We all clearly saw his character develop throughout the movie. The way he was at the beginning and then the way he was at the end, two completely different people. And it shows you that you can change. In fact, anyone can change provided they are hit with the correct events or stimulus, or if they're just visited by the tree spirits. Maybe everyone should be visited by these tree spirits and view their past, present, and future to change for the better. Those are my thoughts for Scrooge, or also known as A Christmas Carol. Now, what do you think about this movie? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Do you agree with my points, or do you have any extra points to share? You're welcome to share it. Thanks for watching with me. I hope you enjoyed my reaction, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.